Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, the moment you've been waiting for since spring training, Clark Schmidt will join the Yankee rotation. Gets the ball at the stadium. It's the Wednesday game against the Royals. So we'll kind of, look at Schmidt's entrance as well as, we say, Stroman's exit as he's placed on the IL with the sore knee. Kind of look at that situation as well as the other elephant in the room. That's, of course, been the ineffectiveness of the new quote-unquote closer, Devin Williams, and kind of the question of whether he should be getting the ball in the ninth moving forward. So we'll get into all that, but before we get started, make sure you subscribe to this podcast, Section 420 Talkin Yankees podcast, wherever you get your favorite podcast. If you're not already subscribed, do that, or follow one of those as well. Follow, subscribe, do both of those at the same time. And of course, there's also the YouTube version of the show, Section 420 Talkin Yankees. Search for it on YouTube and subscribe there as well. Kind of got into this a little bit, just sort of the ineffectiveness of the Yankee, mainly with the starting rotation, but of course a little bit of Devin Williams as well. Covered it there because we'll get into it right now. And again, this kind of goes back to spring training where the Yankees kind of had what you call a good problem. Too many starters for 5 spots, and as these things naturally work themselves out, and they did. Of course, we know Garrett Cole out for the year with the Tommy John surgery. Luis Gil with the lat issue, and only now is going to start a throwing regimen. But again, you're not probably looking him back into the rotation until at least around June, as it seems right now. And of course, you had the situation with Stroman being a crybaby, refusing to take a bullpen job. Now, luckily for the Yankees, nothing really went to a head against the wall there because, again, the situation worked itself out. And this by losing 2 starters, the Yankees were able to easily just slip Stroman in there into one of the starting 5 spots to kind of keep him quiet. Now, he hasn't actually been effective there, hasn't given them much length, and now more recently had the knee injury against that Friday game against the Giants, which is a complete slop fest. I don't know why they went forward with that game. I understand, the upcoming days in New York, the weather was not great, and you can't count on having a doubleheader the next game. But it was a nasty, muggy game there. I don't know whether that had anything to do with Stroman's knee or not. And again, Stroman has not really been effective at all. Even go back to spring training there, so maybe the knee's been balking all along there. So couldn't even get out of the first inning of the Friday game, as we all know there. And the Yankees just got slapped around there, and mercifully they called it early in the 6th inning just with the rain. Again, I don't even know why with the forecast they even tried to get that game in. But Stroman, of course, out there. And, of course, now it opens the door for Clark Schmidt, who, as we all know, got a late start to spring training. Came to camp, had his shoulder was balking there. Then he had some other setbacks for a while, but finally threw some bullpen sessions. Had a good, effective first start, and then his second start gave the Yankees 4 innings there, and they feel he's good to go. So he will now get the ball in the Wednesday game there. Again, the Yankees need a shot in the arm starting rotation, as we know. Finally got a good, what you call a real, A-plus start from Max Fried in the Detroit game. Kind of just took the team on his shoulders and willed the team to win there. But, of course, the problem with that game is what we'll get in the second half of this podcast, of course, is Devin Williams. But first, let's stick with the starters right now, who can have not overall been giving the Yankees good quality starts and length. And, look at Carlos Rondon there. It's kind of weird to say, he's, obviously the first start to opening the year and the opening game day was good, but other than that, he's had a couple of games where he's gotten bombed, and even after the Detroit game, after he gave 6 earned runs, Boone said his stuff was good there, and he pointed a couple of bad calls there, and kind of some innings blew up in them, and of course, more recently with the Sunday game against the Giants there, the Yankees staked him to a 3-0 lead, was cruising all along, everything looking good. Yeah, he gave up a solo home run, stuff like that, but cruising all along, and maybe you blame Boone a little bit for sticking with him. A guy that hit a home run off him early in the game there, now you got a couple of runners on. Maybe that's the time to go to the bullpen. And the guy already took you deep, but Boone stuck with Rendon, just one pitch too many there, and Rendon gives up the big 3-run home run, and there's really your game. Jazz hits a home run later to pull the Yankees with a 5-4, but again, the Yankees with no 9th inning comeback there, and again, yet another loss, or a game that Rendon starts that the Yankees lose there, and, you see the problem, the ineffective of the Yankees starting rotation. Now, Schmidt, he is what he is. Look, he had a really good season for the Yankees last year. I don't know if he, really, is going to sort of really give a big boost to this rotation. I mean, he helps, can he be better than some of, Cookie Carrasco has been lately there? Probably there. So, you get a little improvement there, but still this Yankee starting rotation is in a little bit of a flux. You'd like to see Max Fried, okay, if he can just build on what he started last time, but you have to get it to a situation when Rendon gets out there, you almost pencil in that win, and you just don't feel confident right now. His stuff is good. He has good periods there, but again, the games he's starting, the Yankees are not winning, and that's kind of a problem there. And even you finally did get it overall. You say good win for Will Warren also, and that was the Saturday Giants game there. But again, this Yankee starting rotation now very light, even with the strong performance of Max Fried there. After him, you look at the rest of the way there, and you're not getting much. And of course, Stroman's going to be on the IL for a while. And even if he was in there, and if he comes back, I just don't, he has not really looked good at all, even from spring training till now there. So again, Yankees going to have the work cut out for them, what they're going to do with the starting rotation. Trade deadline still a ways away there. And again, and Luis Gil also a ways away there. So Yankees got to get a little bit more out of Rendon. It has to be to the point where, when he starts a game, you almost got to pencil in that win there. You kind of feel confident with Max Fried with that, even though, the 2 starts before that weren't stellar. But, I think a lot of that had to do with the score of the game. Both games, the Yankees were up big, and that probably had a lot to do with it. But, again, Rendon has to straighten himself out here. It's his 3rd season. He's not a spring chicken anymore. He's kind of been around here. He's still in his prime. He still has his good stuff there. But you can't have these blow-ups. You look at the Arizona game, he got smacked around. The Detroit game, he got smacked around. And even though, he was cruising along in this Giants game, and you maybe want to blame Boone for sticking with him a little too long there. This is now like 3 games within maybe 5 starts. He's gotten he's given up a lot of earned runs there. So even if his stuff looks good, even if he's looking good there, huffing and puffing his way there, he's still, he's losing games there where he shouldn't be for the Yankees there. So that's going to have to turn around. And look, great to have Clark Schmidt. Is Schmidt is going to be an improvement over what Stroman's going to give you right now? Probably. But when Stroman's ready to come off the IL, I guess the Yankees could cross that bridge when they have to there. But again, the Yankees starting rotation right now, you would say, is definitely the Achilles heel of this. The offense overall is good, the bullpen overall is good, with even the problems with Devin Williams, which we'll get to in a moment there. But it's the starting rotation right now is the Achilles heel for the Yankees, so that's something they're gonna have to address. And as for Devin Williams, I know. Obviously, we all see the situation with him. He does not look sharp right now, and the fans are calling for him to get demoted and let Luke Weaver be the 9th inning guy. Again, that's if the Yankees get to that situation, at least you have that ace in the hole. We know Luke Weaver can close games there, so the Yankees could make that move at some point. But right now, even as bad as Devin Williams has been right now, you got to stick with him, at least for the near future, because if this team's going to go anywhere, if you're going to have what you call a world championship level type of bullpen, you need him at the top of his game, and you only get him at the top of his game if you put him out there and if he's closing games in the 9th inning and doing his thing. I think that's probably the best situation for the Yankees. What the Yankees did with Clay Holmes, like once Clay Holmes lost his role there, they kind of made him a 7th inning, a 8th inning guy there. And he took to that role very well, and he kind of, turned it around for himself there. But I think for Devin Williams and the Yankees, they're at that best if you could have Luke Weaver, pitching in the postseason, giving you multiple innings, and then you could go to Devin Williams in the 9th inning there. I think that's the Yankees' best bet, because then, you look at that, those 3 innings those guys could cover, the 7th, 8th, and 9th collectively. You could really put a stranglehold on the game if the Yankees get a lead there. So the best thing for the Yankees is to get Devin Williams right and just get him on a good track. Then you're not going to get that by just, having him come out in the 7th and 8th and doing stuff that he's not used to and assignments he won't like. I know your employee should be able to do whatever the manager tells you to do there, but being realistic about it, I think the best thing for the Yankees is having him close games and be successful in the 9th, and you can only do that by running him out there, and just hopefully at some point, some way, he turns this all around. Again, the body language has been weird. He's kind of been low-key, and I kind of mentioned that, even though he almost blew the game on opening day there, he stayed cool and got a couple of big strikeouts when he needed at the end there. His demeanor's been okay, but his stuff has not been crisp. I know you look at the radar gun, he's hit 95, and he's hitting like 82, 84, and he's sort of airbender, his off-speed pitch there. But you even see with the off-speed pitch there, other players are still getting they're getting a piece of it. Maybe they foul it off a couple times. They keep fouling it off, and then either he gives up a walk or he lays one in there where they get a hit there. So there's something with his stuff there where he's just not getting that. He's just not able to put hitters away. He's not getting enough swings and misses there. So I don't know if it's a weather thing. It's just the years that started. Maybe his arm is still taking, even though he had a full spring training, his arm not fully cranked up yet. But there's definitely something, I say, more off with his stuff there, where he's, hitters are putting, they're fouling his pitches off, and he's not getting those swing and misses. And again, these hitters are staying in there just long enough to either draw a walk or maybe eventually get some good wood on it. So I hope it's not an injury thing. As we know, he had the back issue last season, which got delayed the start to the season there. And of course, as we all know, gave up the big 3-run home run to Pete Alonso. Again, really ever since then, hasn't been the same. So I don't know. Is that Alonso home run in his head maybe? Is it a physical thing with the back? Look, and he had the back issue last year, which he missed a chunk of time for. Or is it just the fact, look, it's a new team and kind of up here in New York, and it's a little chilly, and like places like Detroit, it's frozen, and he just doesn't really have his stuff yet, and he still needs a little time to really get up to speed. I don't know. I mean, I just hope it's not injury-wise there, but again, for the Yankee fans calling for him to be removed for the ninth inning, you got to get him right. And the only way you get him right is keep throwing him out there, and hopefully at some point he turns around. Now, if you're going to get a situation where he kind of was like Clay Holmes was like last August, where he's just blowing games out left and right and killing you, then I guess that you make the move to put Weaver there as the ninth inning guy. But right now, you got to stick with Devin Williams as your closer, and hopefully at some point he quote-unquote finds it and gets himself right. Because again, I think the best upside possible is having him as your closer in the ninth inning and have Luke Weaver setting him up in the postseason. So that's where the game plan has to be there. You have to look forward for that. That's the bigger picture, not some random Wednesday game against Detroit there. So hopefully at some point now, Boone puts him out there a couple more times. Maybe he could turn around there. And again, we're not even thinking about him being removed from the ninth inning role. So that's the episode. Clark Schmidt coming back to the Yankee rotation. Well, not coming back. I mean, obviously been waiting for him, but finally getting there. And again, giving this starting rotation a much needed shot in the arm. I don't think he's a big boost. Obviously he's going to be better than probably Will Warren. He'll probably be a little bit better than Carrasco. He's going to be better than Stroman right now. But I think, obviously Luis Gil is someone who could give you a bigger impact. Clark Schmidt a little down from that, but obviously you'll take him. And hopefully he can just continue the success he had in 2024. Catch you next time.